Yeah! Careful, Milliam. Look, this is how you're supposed to hold it, see? Why are you always cramping my style? Cooking's all about heart, and I have got tons of that. Well, you're going to stab me in the heart if you don't stop brandishing that kitchen knife with like a deadly weapon. My arm's going dead. Can I stop whisking this now? Sure, if you don't want it to rise properly in the oven. Come on, stop whining and concentrate. And no tasting until it's done. Fine. Full speed whisking ahead. Great, now we just need to wait for it to cool. Ooh, I'm so excited. Is it ready? It's been less than a minute. Watching over and supporting Milliam proved to be no small task. Thankfully, the apple tart was successfully completed. Yay, we're finally done! And look how nice it looks. It's really magical what can happen when you don't use salt instead of sugar. Why'd you have to ruin the moment by bringing that up? That was from the first game. Still, thanks for all the help. You're welcome. It was fun. This idea kinda came out of left field though. When I think of you, I think of destruction, not creation. Any particular reason you decided to make something for a change? I don't know. It just felt kinda something. Like, it's hard to describe, but I've got this weird tightness in my chest that won't go away. I think it first showed up when I saw what happened to Celtic. It's got me all restless. I always feel like I've got to do something. It doesn't matter what, as long as I do it. I was hoping the feeling would go away when we caught Duke Alberea, but that didn't happen. If anything, Eustace having to arrest his dad only made things worse. Any idea what I've got, Dr. Rean? I know exactly what you've got, and it's not anything unusual. It's called sadness. Everyone feels it sometimes, but I guess this might be the first time you have. So that's what this is. Neat. I had no idea. I've never felt like this before. It's kinda out of character for me, though. Personally, I think this might actually be a good thing. It's a sign that you're growing up and maturing. As a person, I mean, not as an intelligence agent. I'm growing? Sad things happen. It's a fact of life. But it's by overcoming those things and moving past them that we can grow as people. So don't be ashamed of how you're feeling. There's no reason to hide it if you're sad. You matter too much to do that to yourself. You really think so? Okay. I'm still not totally sure how to deal with how I'm feeling right now. But thanks for talking to me about it. Their sad conversation complete, Rean and Milliam put the finished apple tart in the fridge to share with the rest of their friends later. Afterwards, they both left the Courageous and returned to Bereahard. Seeing Bereahard's cathedral up close is always breathtaking. You've been to Bereahard before, haven't you? That's right, I have a number of noble acquaintances here even. Speaking of which, today's mass seems to have attracted more of them than usual. It looks like it's intended as an occasion to mourn the losses suffered by Celtic. Oh. Judging by all the people I saw go in, it'll probably be a fairly large event. So it seems I plan to attend as well to offer my prayers to the market manager. But no, it's nothing. Let's go inside, Rean. And so Rean and Princess Alphen entered the cathedral to attend the mass currently being held. Of course, they were careful to sit behind the majority of attendees to avoid standing out. However, during the sermon, I'm sure you've all heard by now of the terrible tragedy that took place in Celtic recently. In light of this, let us offer up our prayers for the people there. May Idios be with them all. Rest in peace, Otto. What's going to happen to us from here on out? I can't believe they actually arrested Duke Alberea. Not to mention the fact that we've been removed from the Noble Alliance's jurisdiction. But why, though? I see no reason to accept the Imperial Army when our own army is still intact. Duke Alberia certainly has made a muck of things this time. Are these people for real? Aren't we supposed to be mourning for the people of Keldic? There's a time and a place for self-pity, and it sure as hell isn't now. Besides, surely Keldic was partly to blame for what happened too, no? I heard all about their belligerent attitude towards Duke Alberea. And yet he was arrested simply for teaching them a lesson? Disgraceful. I know the beloved empire certainly has been on the decline these past couple of years. I can't take much more of this. Just who in the world do you people think you are? Huh? Who dares to raise their voice during Holy Mass? Wait, I know that face. Princess Alpin? How could you make light of what happened in Keldic? Do you genuinely believe that it's none of your concern that Keldic deserved its fate? Is this how you treat your fellow Erebonians? Don't you realize that by putting aside such social labels, this tragedy could have been prevented? Your Highness. But maybe I'm not one to talk. I may have shared the same sentiments as you all had I continued to live in my cozy life in Heimdall. I would have done little other than pity them without making an attempt to truly understand the gravity of the matter. In the end, it would have just been another event on the long list of things to eventually forget. But please, I beg of you, please realize that whether they are noble or a commoner, every life matters. The people who suffered in Keldic, who lost their lives because of this war, are no less important than any of us. Each and every one of them lived a life of their own and had a future ahead of them until it was ripped away. Your Highness. Your Highness. Rean. So please, I ask anyone in disagreement with the Duke's arrest to go see Keldic for themselves. If that's not enough to convince you his arrest was the right thing to do, then by all means, bring your complaints to me. I swear on the Arnor household that I will listen to every single one of you in earnest. After Princess Alpin's speech, they left the cathedral that had turned deathly quiet. From there, Rean escorted her back to the airport. The entire way, she struggled to hold back her tears. Thank you, Rean. I've gotten a hold of myself now. Oh, how embarrassing is it to act out like that during a holy mass? I'm sure my brother would have been able to handle that situation much better. Prince Olivert would have handled that in his own way, sure. That doesn't make your actions any less worthy of respect, however. You don't think it was too much? I mean it when I say that your speech hit very close to home. That's why I'm sure some of the nobles there must have been impacted the same way. If anything, I'd say you've made me feel more proud to be a member of the Empire than ever before. Did I? I'm sure when this war comes to an end, your words will be able to reach even more people too. Until then, all we can do is keep fighting. Thank you, Rean. Hearing you say that is such a relief. Happy to help, Your Highness. Let's just focus on doing what we can for now, okay? Please, don't forget that we're all here to support you. Thank you. I wonder why Laura's going out to the canyon alone. I know she can handle herself just fine, but still. I've got some time on my hands, so let's go check on her. Laura? Laura? Hey, are you alright? Why would you jump in there when it's this cold out? Oh, I see you've come along too, Rean. There's no need for concern. It's cold but refreshing. Okay, can I just point out that she's standing in the water and it's not even waist high. She just dove headfirst into that. From that height, she'd be dead. There's just not even a question of it. That's terrible. She seems like she's okay. I know she's used to winter swimming, but we're at the coldest part of the year right now. Did she want to clear her mind or something? That raises the question of what could be troubling her. Look, never dive headfirst into water if you don't know how deep it is, okay? That's just a good safety measure, and the more you know, the safer you be, or something like that. Laura finally came ashore after spending a little more time in the water. Realizing she would be freezing, Rean made sure he had a towel ready for her. My apologies. Perhaps it was a bit much to try my hand at swimming during this time of year. It really was. Is something up? I know you're fond of swimming, but doing something like this out of the blue isn't like you. Ugh. See? Sorry, but you're gonna have to let me dry your hair off at least. Very well then. Dude, give her your jacket. Be a man. Step it up a little bit. Having dried off her hair, Rean left Laura to finish drying off otherwise and get changed. In the meantime, he headed back into town to grab her something warm to drink. Thank you for your consideration, Rean. I've warmed up plenty now. See? It was worth me fussing over you. Want to head back to the Courageous? You could catch a cold if you stay out here. No need. I'm fine. As you know, I'm used to this. I'd like to apologize for worrying you, however. Well, I wasn't too worried. It's you we're talking about. So, did you bring that swimsuit from Thor's or something? Yeah, Rean, that's the important part of the conversation right now, where she got her pretty swimsuit from. Jerk. Yes, actually. I found it in my luggage after leaving. I used it often during the time Emma and I spent in the Gram, too. It sounds funny when I say it out loud, but swimming has always been a way for me to wash away the concerns and hesitations. Of course, Emma had a similar reaction to yours whenever I did. It's not funny at all, really. I get what you mean. As a noble, I found myself thinking a lot about what happened here in this province. It is true that what Duke Alberea did to Celtic is beyond unforgivable. However, one could also argue that he never would have employed such tactics if war hadn't broken out. It's clear that his position in both the four great houses and the noble alliance is what drove his actions. You may have a point. There's no guarantee that any other noble wouldn't have ended up doing the same. What's funnier than what you said is that I'm technically a noble too, but I never even thought about things like that before. We still have a long ways to go. Not just in swordsmanship either. It doesn't benefit us to be single-mindedly dedicating ourselves purely to that. Still, I feel that if we're able to make it through this, we will be so much stronger thanks to the experience. I want to rise above every challenge life throws my way, both as a swordswoman and a noble. Naturally, that involves trusting in others rather than attempting to deal with those challenges alone. Perhaps you're an ideal partner to keep me in check, Rean? Laura? I didn't mean anything special by that, mind you. It's just that since you also happen to be a swordsman, we could strive to motivate each other. I'm curious to see where we can go from here. I would say dating, and then eventually marriage. Maybe we can pop out a couple of kids. We could raise our own noble family of swords peoples. We have a tribe of swords peoples and awakeners. All our kids can have little Valamars. And they can also have Tachis or great swords. in the future games, Rean could go to battle with Valimar and then summon his children to come down in little tiny Valimars next to him, and they could all fight together. Oh, that would be amazing. Okay, I'm done. Sorry. There are many incredible warriors taking part in the war, but together, I believe we can catch up to them. And just maybe, we'll be able to reach the strength of the Lance Maiden herself. We could have like our own Eisenritter, except our Eisenritter would be like the whatever the family name would be. We'd be like the, I don't know, the Valimar Ritters. That'd be so cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing just how far our swordsmanship will take us. The size of this place never ceases to amaze me. Both the Duke and Scarlet are being held here, I think.
Damn, this is incredible. It's not as grand as Valflame Palace, but I doubt you'll find many mansions this fancy. The Duke's residence is certainly befitting of his status.
You came after all, Rean.
Yeah, I was kinda hesitant to come and visit in case I got in your way, though.
No, it's fine. Everything is largely settled here now. I will leave the rest to you, then.
As you wish. Leave everything to us, and we will strive and make things as comfortable for your father as possible.
You have my thanks.
He's Captain Claire's adjutant, isn't he?
Indeed, and quite a skilled one at that. He and his men will be managing the mansion together while keeping my father in custody. At least until the war comes to an end.
Oh, right.
There's no need to look so glum. He deserves to answer for his crimes much like others. He should be grateful he hasn't been handcuffed and thrown in a cell.
I guess that's one way of looking at it. Oh, yeah, Scarlet's here too, right?
She's currently receiving treatment in the annex. She remains bedridden, but her life is in no real danger, or so I hear.
That's good.
If you'd like to speak with her, you should go and pay her a visit. Meanwhile, I'll be going to my room to get ready for departure. If you need anything at all, feel free to come by and see me.
Thanks, Eustace. Will do. Wait a sec. Where is his room anyway? I don't know where the annex Scarlet's in is either. I guess I'll have to ask someone. Oh.
I knew it would be you. Did you come to listen to me whine and complain about you?
I know you didn't want me to save you, but you don't have to hate me for it.
I was just joking. I don't care what happens to me. Whether I live or die or get executed as a terrorist, what happens, happens.
Stop being so flippant about the whole thing. But you seem to be a little more cheerful than I was expecting you to be. I'm glad. Well, it sounds like you're doing all right at least. That's good.
My only complaint is that I wasn't allowed to ascend to heaven like I wanted to.
I kind of feel like that's a little arrogant to just assume that you get to go to heaven when, you know, people consider you a terrorist. I mean, I know that you think you did the right thing, and I get that, but, like, I feel like you kind of still did some bad stuff in there, you know? Whether or not you're on the right side of the law. I mean, I wouldn't assume Rean's gonna go to heaven. He's kind of done some rough stuff too. Just saying.
But perhaps this is just how it was meant to be.
I wish I could tell you. You said you used to be a sister, right? You mentioned something about training over in Arteria, too.
I did, though that training was a long time ago. That really takes me back.
So that wasn't a lie? Sorry. It wasn't that I didn't believe you, it's just...
I'll have you know I grew up in one of the most pious families in the country. Hard as that may be to believe. I was so happy when I was first invited to join the church. I doubt you'd know, but the church is a fairly complex organization with plenty of divisions within it. The part I was invited to join was an organization called the Congregation for the Sacraments. They're a group full of immensely skilled people who take on some unique missions, to put it mildly. It made me happier than you can imagine to be recognized by people like that at such a young age. I didn't have any special abilities of my own, but I left home, trained my hardest, and eventually became a squire.
A squire? As in a kind of knight? I thought you said you became a sister. Unless you're saying the church has knights too. Ugh, I'm getting confused now.
Anyone would be in your position. Their image of the church begins and ends with priests and mass. As it was, my days in Arteria came to an abrupt end. Just before I went out on my first mission, I got word of what had happened. I hurried back to Erebonia as fast as I could, but I was too late to do anything.
Lady Scarlet, I think you should get some more rest.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make you strain yourself.
You really are a softie. If you want to hear the rest, you'll have to come back another time. So, if you're interested.
It's hard to imagine someone going from being a sister to a terrorist, but that's just what happened. I'm still convinced that it would have been a waste for her to have died back there. I'm glad she seems to have calmed down for now. I'll have to come back another time to see how she's doing.
The RMP should be able to take care of the mansion for the time being. Perhaps this is a chance for me to take one of the horses out for a final ride before I leave? That sounds kind of fun, actually. Mind if I join you, Eustace? I haven't even seen any of your family's horses since that race we had. Not at all. That gives me an idea, in fact. Come with me. Huh? Where? Rean borrowed one of the horses from the Alberea mansion, while Eustace rode another. Together, they set off on horseback towards Aurochs Canyon, with Eustace taking lead. Huh, this is where we had our duel before, isn't it? Why'd we come out here? Draw your sword, Rean. I'd like to request another duel with you. Eustace? Do you remember what you told me during our field study here? You claimed that there was something honest about the way I fought, and that it was because I learned my swordsmanship from someone I trusted. I did, didn't I? My trust in my brother has not faltered. However, because of that trust, I fear that when the time comes to fight him, my sword will be hindered by hesitation. I dread the day that I will have to turn my blade upon my own brother. Well, actually, that day already happened a while back ago in Ymir. I don't know if you remember or not, though. I'm not proud of it, but that's how it is. I can hardly blame you, Eustace. Anyone in your position would feel that way. Perhaps that's why I'd like to face off with you, Rean. Whether I win or lose, I believe our duel will allow me to cast away my doubts. And, through that, I should be able to better trust in my own convictions, regardless of whom I may face. I realize that this is a somewhat selfish request, but please, this is important to me. Huh. Am I even allowed to say no after that speech? It's not often you ask for favors like this either. So sure, let's go. Just know that I won't be holding back. Hit me with all you've got. With pleasure. Thus, Rean and Eustace began their duel. It's a really exciting one too. You can see it going on in the background. If you can't see it actually right now, you need to check your monitor or your phone, because there's obviously something wrong with it, because I'm watching the most amazing cut sequence right now with incredible action and high fidelity graphical interfaces. And oh wow, they just switched to animation. That's pretty cool. Man, this is top-notch stuff right here. Oh, they're back to the CG rendered graphics. Holy cow. They look so good. Oh wow, this is the best stuff I've ever seen. Thus, Rean and Eustace began their duel, putting all of their strength into the battle. They cleared their heads of all distractions, their focus purely on trying to be the victor. With that, the fight continued on until... I don't think I can move another muscle. Neither can I. Even in real battles, it's not often that I fight to the point of exhaustion. I think it's because we can read each other so well that we're able to fight to this point, really. Granted, I could see Master Kapai and Viscount Dorset keeping it up the whole day without getting tired or bored. We're not them, but I still think we did pretty well for a couple of teenagers. Agreed. It was fun in our own strange way. Thank you, Rean. I feel as though I can now go forth and fight with the same honesty yet again. I may have been taught by Rufus, but it was Class VII who helped me to further develop my skills. No need to thank me. I'm just glad you were honest with me and asked. That was beyond awful.
I'm trying to fix this.